They said Cubans in Miami is not letting black women that's big in their clubs. They're not letting them in. They're refusing them service. They're saying they're too big and they're too dark. I repeat, Cubans are in Miami telling black women that's too big, they can't come in. Huh? I'm confused. Like, but y'all hate when we make it into a race thing. Why are y'all making it into a race thing? Y'all hate that when we talk about the issues. Why are y'all doing that? Why are y'all doing that? Like, I never been to Miami. I haven't been. Now, no, I'm not that big, but are you going to tell me I'm too dark? Probably. That's crazy. Like, I met some people that was from Miami before. They act stank as hell. Like they do. They act like they shit do not stink. Like they better than everybody.
Let's have the conversation that people love to sidestep. Because anti-blackness does not just come from white folks. And it for sure did not just appear out of nowhere. And if we're serious about solidarity, we have to trace where it actually started. Now, first thing, this is not about all Asian communities. That's lazy. And I am not lazy. But when we talk about patterns, we're talking about systems. And the system made sure that anti-blackness wasn't just exported, it was globalized. See, when European powers colonized Asia, they didn't just take the land, they also imported hierarchy. They pushed the idea that lighter skin meant civility, wealth, purity, and darker skin was poverty, backwardness, and danger. And that colonial script seeped deep, from India to the Philippines, all the way to Japan. Skin tone became the ladder, and whiteness was always at the top. If we fast forward to Asian immigration in the U.S., you arrive in a country that's already built on anti-blackness, already criminalizing black life. And what do politicians do? They dangle a deal. If you distance yourself from black people, we'll give you a seat closer to whiteness. And that's where the model minority myth comes in. It was never a compliment, it was always a weapon. The government used it in the 1960s to say, hey, look at these Asian immigrants. They work hard, they follow the rules. Why can't black folks do the same? And that's when it turns survival into separation. And here's the ugly truth. Some communities actually leaned into it, right? Because of your family's safety, your visa, your livelihood depends on being seen as the good immigrant, you'll play the role, even if it means stepping on black people to do it. But don't get it twisted. This was not organic hate. It was policy. It was propaganda. And it worked. Because it kept us divided while white supremacy stayed in power. So when we talk about Asian anti-blackness today, whether it shows up in colorism, anti-black policing in Asian-owned shops, or even silence around Black death, we've got to understand that it didn't just fall from the sky. It was planted by colonizers, by governments, by systems that profit when we fight each other and not them. And until we name that history, we are not building solidarity. We're just repeating the cycle. And I, for one, refuse to keep the cycle quiet.
I don't think so. I think she was
Cubans
speaking
racist.
to and addressing the big elephant in the room.
What's the big elephant
between blacks and Latinos in America? If you go to Cuba, and those were Cuban podcast members, these were two Cuban women. In Cuba, there's always been a racial animosity rift between black Cubans and white Cubans in Cuba. This is a fact. In fact, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan addressed that same issue when he visited Cuba and met with Fidel Castro, because many of the black Cubans was asking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to speak to Fidel Castro about the mistreatment of black Cubans in Cuba. Charles, you see that same dynamic in Colombia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, where the black-skinned Latino is at the bottom and badly mistreated, but the white-skinned one is on top. In Florida and around America, I want Latinos to think about this, and black people. There was a famous white supremacist scholar in America who wrote a book in the 90s called Two Nations, Dr. Andrew Hacker. In that book, he wrote One Nation Black, One Nation White. And he spoke about the fear of genetic annihilation in America if black and brown birth rates continue to soar and white birth rates continue to go backward. He said that within 30 years, America would be majority minority, no longer white controlled or dominated.
I absolutely hate Atlanta weather.
But let's talk about anti-blackness in the Cuban community. To understand the anti-blackness within the Cuban community, you have to understand how we even got a Cuban community to begin with. And we can thank colonizers for that, Spanish colonizers to be exact. Because you see, before the Spanish came to Cuba, what we know today as Cuba, there was a large indigenous population of Taino people. But it wasn't just Taino. I know I don't want to botch this name, but I might. There were the Ceboni people and also the Guanahatabey people. No, long story short, there were people there on the land of Cuba before the Spaniards decided that they were going to come here, mass murder everyone, and replace them with African slaves. And that's exactly what happened. But what you have to understand is even though they brought African slaves there, they brought slaves there as slaves, not to be members of society. So the only people who were walking around free and controlling shit were the Spaniards, essentially white people. So, you know, after a couple hundred years of that, you can definitely expect there to be a mixing of some bloodlines, mixing of some ethnicities, and that's how we got Cubans. Now, before I keep going, I don't want you to hear this and think, oh, all Cubans are racist. No, Cuba literally houses so many black revolutionaries from the civil rights era, we cannot ignore that. What I'm saying is, anti-blackness runs rampant through their community, though, including the Cubans, not to mention the Cubans in America, which is what this video will be about. But I just wanted to make this disclaimer because I don't want you to think that this is me saying all Cubans are racist. Absolutely not. Cuba has actually been one of the greatest allies as far as the entire Hispanic diaspora. They've been there for us. But it doesn't negate from the fact that they have a bad case of anti-blackness. Let's get back into it. Y'all, I will be speaking at the Juneteenth parade. I'll be speaking from 1:10 to 1:30 or 1:15 to 1:30. But just get there around 1 if you want to see me speak. And it's going to be at the Piedmont Park, June 14th, which is this coming Saturday at, like I said, 1 o'clock. Just get there at 1. I want you to enjoy the festivities. But anyway, let's get back into it. All right, now I'm pretty sure I'd heard the name Fidel Castro. Now, there is a lot of things you could say about Fidel Castro, but the bottom line is that he was a dictator. He did a lot good for his community, but he also did some bad. And this caused a lot of Cubans to flee Cuba. Because, I mean, back home, he was seizing land. He had successfully controlled the media. There was no free speech, food, medicine, and your typical fucking basic goods were becoming scarce.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing well from wherever you are watching me from. In today's video, there is something that I want to address that I feel like it's really important for us to have a talk about. The question of Miami Cubans. For those who don't know Miami Cubans are a group of the Latino community in Miami, and the 1959 Cuban Revolution made them leave. They sought exile into the United States, and they were looking for economic opportunity, and that formed their population. And now times have gone, and the interaction with them, with people in the United States, there is a rising issue that has been going on for a while now: the anti-blackness from the Miami Cubans. We've heard people complain about the question of anti-blackness, the proximity to whiteness that they have that makes them feel they are better than black people, to the extent that they are blocking black people to get into their clubs because they feel like black people don't deserve to go in these places. But at the end of the day, this forms part of our broader discussion, because we want to know where the problem is. And I feel like the problem is where a person feels like proximity to whiteness makes them feel white, instead of them understanding that to a white person, they are not white. And we are all a part of the playbook while we fight against each other. In today's video, I'm also going to be addressing why do we always having this anti-blackness stereotype towards black people. It's so much important for us to discuss these issues. Look at when a problem lands, people usually want the black support without even thinking about the consequences or how they have lived with black people. They want black people to reciprocate what they haven't been doing, and this is where the problem is, and this forms part of our discussion. Brothers and sisters, welcome to this channel. I'm your host and presenter, Genetic Stories. Please, if you're watching it for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to where I can offer you. And I really want to shout out those people that support my channel. That's through super thanks, through my Cash App, through liking, sharing my videos. Man, you are the most important people that are keeping me coming and let us having this conversation. So please, watch the video. I'll be back, and then you know very well that I'm gonna be coming with my thoughts and I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts. So let's watch the video. I'll be back. As you know, again, I'm your host and presenter, Genetic Stories. So let's get into it. I'll be back.
I want to ask a question to all of the Cubans in Miami. Most of y'all look like me, if not lighter, with green eyes or blue eyes. With that being said, when I visited Havana, something that I noticed was that most people living in Havana are unambiguously black, darker than me, and I mean unambiguously black. So when y'all are advocating for the free use of the N-word, are y'all also advocating for sanctions to be lifted on the people who are actively living in Cuba now? Or are y'all only using the privilege that you genuinely have to advocate for the free use of the N-word? Like I said, I've seen you guys drop a ton of excuses, but I really want to know, what are you actively doing with your American privilege and your white privilege for the people in Cuba, besides perpetuating anti-blackness and then falling victim and claiming victimhood for the justification to use an awful word?
Being from Miami, I don't know how to feel about Cubans being in their find out era. Because they took over Miami, and it was to the point where you couldn't even find a job unless you spoke Spanish. And even if you spoke Spanish and you wasn't Cuban, you wasn't getting that job. And I give them a lot of credit, because before their family or friends would leave Cuba, they would already have a job, a car, and a place to stay by the time they reached Miami. Like, they really set up their people very, very well. They even had a wet foot, dry foot policy. Where they messed up at was thinking that they thought becoming a Republican was going to make them turn. And the whole time they're speaking Spanish. And a majority of them didn't even bother to learn English, but yet they thought they were. And my main question is, what is the difference between Fidel Castro and 45? Until then, azúcar.
So I'm in Miami for the first time, y'all, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. You all didn't tell me Cubans hated us this much. I'll tell you this, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I know the history of what white people have done. So I ain't talking about as far as some systematic shit, right? Well, maybe so down here in Miami, I don't know. But when the Cubans in Miami see a black person, you can feel the distastefulness. You can feel the hate. It's almost as if they're disgusted with your existence. I haven't seen anything like it in my life. Where can I go in Miami that's not going on at? Tap in, because I don't know. That shit is mind-blowing.
I have tried to make this video like 5 times and I keep blocking the speaker, so I'm gonna try to not do that. Okay, I just wanted to add my 2 cents on the Miami Cubans / Miami white Hispanics that have been using the N-word all their lives and have never been checked for it. Me specifically, I am Puerto Rican Dominican. My mom is a white Puerto Rican and my dad is a black Dominican. And I don't know, in my household it was never explained to me that I was black. Like, Dominicans specifically try to erase their blackness and they really don't like it when you call them black. It's a deep-seated issue, but I feel like this is also an issue globally. The darker you are, obviously, the more you experience racism. The lighter you are, the prettier you are, and the more respect you receive, but it's fucked up. But yes, so all of the Miami Cubans and Miami white Hispanics, Miami white Cubans, who say the N-word have never been checked in their life, unfortunately. But I guarantee if they ever leave their little Miami bubble, they would get popped immediately for saying it in the presence of a Black person. And I really hope more people do that. Just hit them in the mouth immediately. I have had to defend my own Blackness almost my entire life because nobody here knows the difference between race and ethnicity, unfortunately. And like literally the other night I was at Lincoln's Beard and I was speaking with 4 guys that were white, and they were like white Hispanics, and I was hitting on one of them for a sec, and then their friend dropped the N-word and I called him out immediately. I was like, you can't fucking say that. And he was so defensive. He was like, who are you to assume my race and my ethnicity? I'm like, bro, you're white as fuck. And he's like, I'm Chilean, Chinese, and European. And I'm like, bruh. Like, make it make sense. And it doesn't. And he was literally like, I know more Black people than you, bitch. Ugh. I was by myself, so I wasn't about to fight with 4 men. But I just walked away after that because, like, I just don't have the time to try to educate dumbasses. And yeah, nobody should try to educate any dumbass. But yeah, just hit them immediately, because what the fuck. So I just hope that if someone would ever come into that situation where a white person is using the N-word around them, I just hope they're being called out. I hope they are defending their Black friends and family. And I hope that if it has to get to violence, like, violence is an answer. So hit them.
It's very sad that one thing that every race have in common is disliking Black people. That's the one thing that every freaking race have in common, is disliking us. But another thing they have in common is using us for our money and our sympathy and empathy. Because Blacks, let me set y'all straight. Y'all feel sorry for people too fast and too much and at the wrong time. Y'all always, because I see some of y'all saying that the things that we saying we shouldn't be saying. Stop feeling sorry for people and stop letting them use your religion against you. Stop letting them use that God that they gave you against you. That's so weird to me. Y'all don't understand that the empathy and sympathy that y'all do have is been programmed. This is why you wind up feeling sorry for your enemies half the time, bruh. This is why you wind up feeling sorry for people that will not go into bed for you at all, not one time, not one bit. You wind up feeling sorry for people that wouldn't do for you that you would do for them. So you start turning on your own people. The one thing those other races do have in common, they stick together, no matter right or wrong or indifferent. They will stick together. But they'll find something weak in us, which is a lot, to make us turn on each other, okay? And start saying, yeah, well, y'all shouldn't be saying that about them people. I feel bad. Yes, we feel bad that it's happening. But you think we about to go in front line because we feel bad? Baby, it take a little bit more feeling bad than for me to get up out there. So, at the end of the day, if we're next, we sitting there, we understanding what we need to do. Huh? We ready. Be blessed.
When it comes to requesting Black people be in solidarity with you, and once again, when we tell you no, your immediate retort is that, well, we're going to be, Black people are going to be they're coming for us next. We can never be second because we're still first. Black people are not immigrants, and we are not settlers. We were stolen from our homeland, and we were brought here. The indigenous people, obviously, this was their land first, and we were brought here, our ancestors were brought here as slaves to build this country on said land. So as far as indigenous and Black people are concerned, with regard to this country, in the words of Miss Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter, This our shit. Bow down, bitches.
Bow down, bitches. Bow down, bitches. Bow down, bitches.
Okay, so I saw a creator on here talking about this Miami situation. I don't know if you've seen the video, kind of went viral, where it was like 3 black girls. They were saying that they weren't allowed to get in the club, or maybe they just waited too long. They couldn't get in the club. This was in Miami. So she did a video saying, Cubans, and which is true, Cubans and a lot of Hispanics in Miami, the thick girls are last and the black girls are last. And I saw the video, and one of the girls actually had braids, which again is a no-no. Like, my hair like this is a no-no in Miami. Like, so she did the video. It was just funny because I already knew that she ain't never been nowhere like Miami, or I would say any kind of like big city, because it's like that everywhere for ages. Like, I lived in Miami for 10 years. I've been out in New York, but it's like that everywhere. It's been like that forever. Like, if you have braids, they're gonna make you wait in the back. They let the Hispanics first, and then they let the white people first, and then the skinny girls, the model, yeah, they're getting in because they're the ones who's gonna attract the celebrities. Those are the ones that celebrities want in the VIP. And it gives, unfortunately, what they say, it gives ghetto, because if you're in a club, they don't want what they call, taking bottles, or, yeah, they don't want that type of aesthetic. Okay, so yeah, I could have just tell, like, you saw the take. These creators, they see the take, and then they're already ready to record. Have you ever been in them situations before? Because again, this has been happening for 10 plus years, like 20. Like, yeah, I'm showing my age, but this has been going on. So, like, and black girls, and we're still gonna try to go to the club. They're still gonna try to go to the club. They're gonna try to go to Live. They're gonna try to go to all the popping clubs out there. Right now, the scene is whack. So, respectfully, it's not even that serious. But yeah. And yeah, so, like, for instance, people talk about, Chris Brown, but I've seen Chris Brown probably like 2 or 3 times, and twice I was probably arm's length of him. But he has women security, like light skin, white. They won't let you pass a threshold in his VIP. Why? Because when cameras are taking photos and everything, the aesthetic that, the celebrity wants to be shown in the media and that's what they're worried about. So they don't want, like, you could probably hang around in the back in the VIP, but they're not going to let you stand there right next to Chris Brown. It's because Chris Brown already picked his security. I got a story time. Like, I got a story time where I lit this girl hair on fire because I was trying to get to Chris Brown's section that bad. And it was really because my cousin really wanted to meet him, and I was like, nah. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Even when you think you're about to go natural, braids, just know you're slowly ending your baddie aesthetic. Like, when I started growing my locks out, I already knew. People stopped inviting me outside. A lot of things, because I was just trying to get to my natural self and, loving myself. No makeup. I don't have to get beat all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, the crowd goes away because you're not a baddie. You're not wearing a bust-down lace, You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you could afford it, if that's not what you want to get, they're like, why you don't want to wear a wig? And I used to be like that. So, yeah. And if you don't know, you don't know. If you live in North Carolina somewhere, or you live somewhere, not trying to be funny, you've never been in LA, you've never been in these places, you're not going to understand. And you're like, whoa, oh my God, this is what it is? Yeah, it's been like this forever. Forever.
That? Then stop looking for black people to be out there for y'all. Y'all are not black. Latinos, specifically Mexicans, Cubans, y'all are not black. You don't have the right to say that word. You do not come from a lineage of bondage. You do not come from a place where you were sold. Okay, you are not black. No matter how much you try to be a thug, you are not black. No matter how many times you hang around black people, you are not black. And if you are not an African American, a descendant from slavery, that word should never come out of your mouth. This is why most black people are not out there, on top of them being tired because we said we told you so. This is one of the reasons why we don't feel aligned with y'all, because of things like this. And it's not just them, because they learned it from somewhere. And I don't want to hear the excuse is a product of their environment, because baby, I grew up around Latinos, okay? I grew up around them, and none of them would ever use the N-word in front of me. And yes, I grew up in Houston. So don't bring the Texas shit in there either, because that's BS. They would get checked. And I do mean by the chin. Until y'all can address that shit, don't say nothing to black people. Fix your house first before you go outside.
Black people in Mexico were not even acknowledged until recent years. Their presence was not acknowledged by the government up until very recent years. But yet, they have been there since days of slavery. You understand? So, since the days of slavery, a lot of the slaves in North America, in the United States, a lot of the slaves ran to Mexico to hide. And a lot of them have been living there. And not only that, but a lot of these Spaniards, they brought some slaves to Mexico too. So black people have been in Mexico for hundreds of years. But Mexican government has not acknowledged their presence until very recent years. And that is why I made a video and called it Afro-Mexican, because these people have been there for many years with their own communities, speaking Spanish, of course, but they acknowledge their African ancestry. They acknowledge it. That's why they self-identify as Afro-Mexican, because they're acknowledging their African roots. And the government has not bothered with them. When you watch telenovelas, Spanish telenovelas, have you ever seen a black man? No, never. But yet, black people have been there since the Europeans have been there for hundreds of years.
So Message says, I definitely stand with Cuban people on the island, but Miami Cubans speak about Black Lives Matter with such disdain. Now, unfortunately, those sentiments are not lost to me. Like messages like this, it's sad how I saw a bunch of BLM posts, but not one post from BLM supporters about what's going on in Cuba. But BLM steady want the support from everyone. That's why I've always said it's not BLM, it's every life matters. Basically, everyone wants our Cuban food, our Cuban cigars, love our Cuban music, love our Cuban women and men, but no support. And to me, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to read this and feel like the sentiments of this whole message feels very anti-black. Instead of all lives matter, it's very much every life matters. It's so all-telling. It's not like it was like, oh, where's my Asian support? Where's my Jewish support? Where's my LGBTQ supporters? Like, where are the Palestinians? Didn't I put up a post for you guys as well? It's like, let me go after the group who is the most silenced online and just fucking attack them for not speaking out. If I fucking did, it's not like you would see it. My post on SOS Cuban, almost 24 hours, only has like over 900 views and like 156 likes. But my post before with the light-skinned Latino on the thumbnail had 174,000 views and 35,000 likes. Please. But trust me, that does not stop me one bit on trying to get the message out on what's happening there. They need our help. But like I said, posts like that feels like it's rooted in anti-blackness, kind of like DeSantis, his anti-riot bill that he passed really for Black Lives Matter supporters and protesters, but it wasn't enforced as of lately, which I don't want to enforce at all. People should have the right to peacefully protest. Like you said, if they're blocking highways and stuff like this, somebody said to pretend what's happening now isn't different than Black Lives Matter protests is causing friction. It was noted that during the protest, there weren't any arrests made, and the Miami-Dade Police Department just redirected traffic for the protesters. With DeSantis saying that he supports the Florida protesters urging to end the dictatorship in Cuba. Oh.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. It is really much devastating that we are having anti-blackness within the Latino community, especially Miami Cubans. And it's so sad that you can see that they made the wrong decision during the elections and they wanted black people to stand with them. But black people are asking, how can we stand with you when we are trying to tell you something? You cannot hear us because you feel that you're better than us, because you are way much lighter than how black people do. The anti-blackness, how they're relating black people, and they can't give black people their airtime because to them, black people can't say anything. And black people try to warn them that these people are not your friends, but they didn't hear. And if there is a group of people that are also learning that racism is expensive apart from white folks, it is people from the Latino community, because they went massively and voted for Mr. Donald Trump, and it came back wrongly. Why I didn't want to focus on the political stance on this, but I still really find it so imperative to include that part of talk in this topic, because we are seeing problems in real time. The relationship between the Hispanics, the relationship between the Miami Cubans and black people, there could be some sharing that we have together. Because one, you understand the collective voice that black people and the Latino community can have in shaping the political realm of the United States, and how all these immigration policies, how they change and how they're affecting Miami Cubans. Remember, if it was rightfully, Miami Cubans are not supposed to be deported, but we saw some of them being deported. Why? Because they didn't have people to stand for them. The people that they thought they are proximal to did not care about them. Everyone was only caring about their family, right? And the people that they've been looking down upon are the people that they right now want them to help them. I'll say this: support has to be mutual. Support has to be reciprocated. For black people to first start considering you as part of their community, first you need to learn to live with black people, because I've always seen the microaggression between people from the Latino community and people from blacks of the United States. And this all reveals itself in your social life. For example, you don't allow black women to go on the clubs because they are big. I mean, that's so diabolical, right? You can't stop a person from doing something because of their body, at least if it's not hurting them in some way or elsewise. But because of your discrimination, but because of your colonial beauty standards, because of the white supremacy that you had, you have certain type of beauty standards that a person needs to look lighter, a person needs to be slim. We love our black women, whether they are thick, whether they are slim. They are who we are, and they are people who gave birth to us, and we love them. And the world need to appreciate how black people are, because that's how we are, right? And so it really becomes problematic when we can't first just live well. How are we going to fight with you? How are we going to fight for you when our daily life social interactions, you are always not there to support us? In fact, you are the ones who are siding with the white folks to make things hard for black people. Call about the anti-blackness, even in the Latino community itself. Do you know how Afro-Latinos, what they go through when they're called Morena, when they're called all those names, right? It's bad. Like, it's something which is not good. And I'm also seeing that some, not all, but in some of your communities, your parents are advising you to not have a child with a black person, because according to you, a black child is a curse. All these stereotypes that you have been ingrained to, it is so sad that you're not seeing the light. At the end of it all, you'll want the help of black people. You'll want black people to fight with you side by side. Honestly, it doesn't work like that. It is high time you understand that favor is reciprocated. You can't receive what you don't give. You can't give what you don't receive. Same to black people, same to you, right? And so it goes both ways. And first of all, I'm stressing on this. There is no way we can go on a fight with you when ourselves, we haven't solved our microaggressions within ourselves. So this is part of that discussion that I wanted us to have. Come think about it. There is so much similarities that black people, Africans, and Latinos share commonly. When you get to look at the music, when you come in to look at the traditional life that all these people have, the drums and how they play all these music sets, you are going to see a similarity. But you decided to go according to the playbook. You decided to follow. You decided to follow what the oppressor wanted you to do, and you even go ahead looking down upon your brothers and sisters. Those are Afro-Latinos, because they have that blackness with them that makes them less white, or that make them less of a person that you want them to be. And so it becomes so devastating. It becomes so a problem to you when you're making young children from the Latino community go through some things that are crazy. I've watched a video of a Latino child being forced to use skincare products that turns the color of their skin, and they are told that, that's the beauty standards that we appreciate. For you to be seen on the social media, you need to look like this, because these people have created a delusional beauty standards in the mind of these kids. And when they're growing up, that's what they know our child is supposed to be. And it's crazy, because a child grows, that starts seeing how they're being treated in schools. And I've seen Afro-Latino kids go through a lot of problems, psychological problems, right? And these cognitive problems that a child goes through when he's young, it affects, because the traumas that he's growing with of being discriminated makes him or her have what is called self-hate. And when they have self-hate, they project it to other people by sometimes being suicidal. And you are not seeing a lot of harm that you're getting away with. And so I feel like it's important for us to have this discussion. The anti-blackness problem that has been going on for a while now, it's something that needs to be addressed. Part of the problem that Miami Cubans learned during the recent election is that you need black people. You need to listen to black people, because at the end of the day, these are people that are in your community that you see daily. And when you can't share with them spaces, and when a black person go on a construction site, you want to find a problem on them so that they can get sacked out of jobs. Because I've seen black people come on social media and talk about how they were sabotaged by a Latino person who never wanted them to work on those farms. Not farms really, but on the construction site. And so it's crazy, right? It's crazy that when you start a business, you just want to bring a Latino person instead of the black community that have hosted you and their community. You're not giving them the job, you're giving other people, your people, right? You are always telling your bosses that, black people are not going to be working well. I know a person that I will call and they will work well, and that's your people. I understand that there is favoritism based on, your lineage, or we call it nepotism, right? But at least try to understand that these are the people that you're living with within your community, and taking care of them should be part and parcel of what you do. And I feel like you need to understand that that's really, really important. So honestly, I want to know what you feel about this. I'm your host and presenter, Jindik Stories, and I'm asking you, for those who are watching me for the first time again, kindly consider subscribing to my channel, join the membership, and really get to work I know for you. For those who are supporting me through Cash App, super thanks, man. I'm really, really grateful for the support that you are giving me. So please let me know what you feel about this. I really want to hear your opinion in regards to this. So let me know what you think about this. But until then, I'm hoping to see you on my next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salud.